Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired Defense Minister Yoav Gallant after significantly ousting him and calling for a break in the government's controversial move to overhaul Israel's court system. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has decided to remove Defense Minister Yoav Gallant from his post, the Prime Minister's office said on Sunday. Gallant delivered a speech Saturday night, while Netanyahu was out of the country on an official visit to the UK, to call for a halt judicial reforms that had sparked weeks of protest. Some reservists have pledged to withdraw from service against the plans, which critics say would undermine judicial independence. Gallant's comments, a member of Netanyahu's Likud party, have opened a crack in Israel's already delicately balanced coalition government that could mean plans cannot move forward. The summoned Minister Gallant to his office and said that he had lost confidence in himself after Prime acted against government and coalition while he was on a political visit abroad, an official from Minister's office said. Secretary Gallant has sabotaged resolution efforts by not coordinating his words with the Prime Minister in advance. In his speech on Saturday, Gallant said pause was necessary for Israel's security, referring to the refusal of some Israel Defense Forces reservists to provide training in protest against government's plans. Gallant echoed this sentiment in a tweet Sunday after his dismissal. The security of the State of Israel has always been and will remain my life's mission. Israelis took to the streets to protest after Gallant opened fire on Sunday night. Large crowds blocked a major highway in Tel Aviv, and some protesters lit bonfires. Former Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid described Gallant's dismissal as a new bottom. He wrote on Twitter that Netanyahu could fire minister, but not Israeli people who stood up to folly of coalition. The Israeli Prime Minister is a danger to the security of the State of Israel, he added. We face a clear, immediate and tangible danger to Israel's security, said former Israeli Defense Minister and opposition lawmaker Benny Gantz on Twitter, adding that the danger is intensifying. Tonight, Netanyahu put politics and himself before security. A controversial judicial revision under proposals, government would have control over appointment of judges, and parliament would gain power to override Supreme Court decisions. The government argues that changes are necessary to rein in the Supreme Court, which they see as narrow-minded, elitist and no longer representative of the Israeli people. Opponents say the plans threaten the very foundations of Israeli democracy. The protest of the reservists is seen as a particular concern for the Israeli government, as they are regularly called up for training and service, even in peacetime. Israel's far-right Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, urged Netanyahu to dismiss Gallant after Saturday's speech. Gallant succumbed to blackmail and threats of all the anarchists tonight, calling for resistance and using Israeli Defense Forces as a bargaining tool, Gvir tweeted. Gallant was elected by right-wing voters and practically supports a left-wing agenda. The truth instantly collapsed under pressure from the media and protesters. I call on the Prime Minister to immediately dismiss him. Israel's Supreme Court put further pressure on Netanyahu on Sunday, giving him a week to respond to a petition calling for his arrest for contempt of court. The legal move by Quality Government Movement in Israel came after the Attorney General told Netanyahu that he had acted illegally and violated a court-imposed conflict of interest decision by saying he would personally participate in judicial overhaul. Part of the bill has already been passed, effectively removing the court's power to declare a prime minister unfit for office. Critics say Netanyahu is pushing for changes because of his own ongoing corruption case. Netanyahu denies this. Netanyahu gave no indication that he would back down. In a speech on Thursday, he said he would address both sides' concerns, but vowed to continue with his reform plans. We'll only know on Monday, Likud lawmaker Danny Danon told CNN when party members meet in Knesset or Parliament, saying it's too early to know if there are enough rebels in the party to stop law. Netanyahu and his allies control 64 seats in the 120-seat legislature, meaning that in theory 5 Likud rebels could deprive the coalition of an absolute majority. But lawmakers may abstain or disagree, reducing the number of votes required to pass a law.